Welcome back, tribe. Have one here from China Observer. China's leftover women overwhelming 1 to 9 male to female ratio in dating. Can you imagine that?
我感觉好崩溃啊。I feel so overwhelmed. It feels like all the bad things are happening at once over the past couple of days. I really wish I had someone to share the burden with, but I feel like I may never find a partner in this lifetime. I feel so helpless. Right now, it's not just about having someone who wants me. I feel like my existence in this world is kind of redundant. I'm already 36 years old and have no value in the dating market, no reproductive value either. My emotions aren't stable, my personality isn't great, and I don't have much money, so I can't provide economic value or emotional value, and not even appearance value. It's only natural that people would reject me, but how am I supposed to keep going? The 36-year-old woman...
What the world? Wow, dude, she just flamed herself harder than any man could have, period. Damn. Jeez. Dude, Chinese women are real literal with this stuff, huh? That is a logical take on why you're 37 and single. No Western woman would ever dare admit any of this.
Li holds a master's degree from a prestigious university. She often refers to herself as a high-quality older single woman and frequently shares on social media the many difficulties she encounters while seeking a partner. She also discusses her feelings of loneliness and the pressure from family and friends to get married. On June 17th, she broke down in tears, regretting that she missed the prime time for marriage due to her focus on her career. Now, being single, she feels an overwhelming sense of anxiety. Mili's tears convey a clear message to all young women. Do not miss the best time to get married. She reminds them that marriage is not only an emotional support, but also a guarantee and foundation for life, urging them not to repeat her mistakes. In her video, Li regretfully stated, "I used to give myself many excuses, thinking that marriage was not important and that career was the most important thing. But now it seems that these were just excuses I made to deceive myself."
It's good that she's saying this stuff out loud. I know it's only reaching the Chinese crowd, but maybe this video reaches some of the women in the US. You got sold a lie on the boss babe, strong, independent woman, Sex in the City empowered, working until night, slaving away for a corporation lifestyle. I'm telling you, it's going to end in flame. You're going to be collecting cats and box wine. You're getting indoctrinated on TikTok with decentering men and all this other crazy ass talk, made to hate men and all of this. A husband and children is the most pleasure, pride, and enjoyment you could possibly derive from life. There is nothing like building your own tribe, having your own legacy, watching your children grow up, eventually having grandchildren, and just being a part of this group that's related by blood and will love you no matter what. This is insane that somehow we've commodified every single part of our lives in the modern world that we're living in today, under the corporate rule that we're living in today. They've turned dating into a profit, relationships into a profit, marriage into a profit. It's not about the community anymore. It's about how much money you're making, how much money you're spending, and how much status it gives you. All components of profit that corporations and businesses benefit from, but you in the end lose. And they're incentivized to drive a wedge between people and make them lonelier than ever, make them more emotionally unstable than people have ever been before. Because you spend money, you can manipulate an emotionally vulnerable person. And who are the biggest spenders today? Who's the ones driving up the largest debt share? Women. You can get a lonely woman that wishes she had a man that's like feeling that natural feminine urge to have children who has none, and sell her on anything, bro. Sell her on beauty products, sell her on cosmetic surgery, sell her on clothes, anything that could somewhat potentially make her feel better about being lonely. You know, this is why they project this strong, independent. No, they're weak, independent. The boss babe. No, they're slave. The I don't need no man. Secretly wishes they had a man. All the things they say out loud that they are, strong girlies, all this is literally just projecting strength where there actually is weakness. It's like covering up all the bad parts of you. I pretend it's like you're puffing up your chest. You're that puffer fish, you know, trying to cover up the flaws. It's sad, dude. And it's not going to get any better. So I tell you guys to get out of the West and go to more traditional community. No matter where you go, if you got the gynocentric message that I want to be a career woman, like this is going to be your outcome. It doesn't matter. Other countries have far more traditionally minded feminine women, and it's much easier to pluck a good one out than be surrounded in a sea of garbage of strong boss babes, what's a man good for mentality that constantly fight you on everything.
Li's video resonated with many users on social media, inspiring many to reflect on themselves. In the comment section, some people said, "When you're young, you always think there's plenty of time, but in an instant, you become an older single woman." Others remarked, "I hope this reminds women chasing their careers that marriage is not a constraint, but true freedom." Some others comforted her, commenting, "It's okay if you can't find someone. Make peace with yourself and stop forcing yourself to look." Emotional counselor Wang Lingguo posted a video on Douyin on July 19th sharing,
If you're getting older and still single, you actually don't have to feel too bad about it. Who says getting married will definitely make you feel happy? Maybe staying single at this age is just saving you from suffering, so try to be more optimistic.
Melee situation.
That's like a bullshit pat on the back, though. It's like a psychological trick to try to make yourself feel better that you failed in life. Yes, there's benefits to try to not be so fixated on the fact that you're single, lonely, wish you had a man. Of course, try to empower yourself and get out there in the world and make a change in your behavior so that hopefully you can land a man. Like in that sense, it's good, but don't try to skirt accountability and the consequences by saying like, maybe it was just meant to be that I'm single. No. Like you took actionable steps day in and day out that landed you a older single woman at 37 with no man. You chose a career. You had suitors when you were younger. You were focusing on things that didn't matter for the long term. You gave up all prime to a corporation instead of a husband. And now you're left 37. Like you got to work the rest of your life. You got to build up a pension. Your eggs are dried up. You probably can't even have kids if you even wanted to. Then you have to go on in vitro and God knows what else. Do you even have the cash for those kinds of expenditures? And by the way, the older you get, those percentages are horrendous, guys. They're like 30%, 15% success rate. It's horrendous. Just because you went and paid for in vitro doesn't mean like, cool story, you're getting pregnant. Baby guaranteed. You just secured a newborn. Absolutely not. With in vitro, your success rate is horrible. Medical intervention is not the answer. A lot of women think they could just prolong this stuff. In biology, it doesn't matter. And they could be 35 plus, 40 plus, and I could have a baby with in vitro and medical intervention. Like, no, it's statistically improbable. That just gives you a shot, potentially, as opposed to trying naturally and having no shot. And that's after spending tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on where you live. Women just got finessed in the most major way imaginable. They derive their happiness from material possessions, the bags they collect, the shoes, shit that gathers dust in their closet, and they think that is equated happiness. Wow. But children are evil. It's a constraint. Marriage is evil. It's a constraint. Men are evil. It's the patriarchy. It's all a constraint. It's emotional labor is what they call marriage. Wow.
Prompts people to ponder whether women's pursuit of a career has surpassed their desire for a happy life. In society, many people are so immersed in competition that they neglect the warmth of family and love. This also leads people to reevaluate the importance and significance of marriage. While a career is important, a healthy family and happy marriage are also worth striving for. Nowadays, more and more older single women are openly seeking marriage on social media. On July 19th, a 36-year-old single woman, Miss Zhou, posted a video on Douyin.
感谢豆爸爸把我这条推荐给全国的单身人士。
Thank you, Douyin, for recommending my video to single people all over the country. Many people have commented, saying I'm brave to come to this platform alone to find a partner, facing all the doubts, confusion, and ridicule. It's not about being brave, it's about being responsible for myself. Don't believe sayings like, if you build it, they will come. I know too many excellent women who are still single despite their age. I don't want to be an internet celebrity, but if exposure brings me more visibility and helps me find a partner faster, it's a blessing. So we all need to be a little braver. Happiness is something you have to seize, fight for, and strive for.
来到著名的皇家公园相亲角来碰碰运气。
Today, I came to the famous Shanghai Royal Park Matchmaking corner to try my luck. It's 9 a.m. and there are so many people here. It's really hot and I see parents who are incredibly worried about finding partners for their children. Today, I feel there are many excellent girls here, many with PhDs who studied abroad. I feel like I'm out of luck. If such excellent people can't find someone, it's even harder for an ordinary person like me. This 36-year-old intelligent beauty, Miss Zhou, is 1.75 meters tall. She's publicly seeking marriage on social media, challenging herself to find a partner in 100 days and get married in 200 days. She hopes to find a compatible partner who shares her pursuit of a spiritual life, but reality leaves her feeling helpless. Since June 1st, when she first posted her video, over 50 days have passed, and she has posted more than 40 episodes. Yet she has not found a suitable man. Will Miss Zhou succeed? Another 36-year-old single woman, Xiao Han, is also publicly seeking marriage on Douyin. But her criteria might make potential partners shy away.
我的择偶要求就4点，第一点是
I only have 4 requirements for a partner. First, you must settle down in the Zhejiang, Shanghai area. I don't accept long-distance relationships. I'm in Suzhou, and it's okay if you settle down nearby. If you're from another place, you need to buy a house and settle here. Second, you must be good-looking, pleasing to the eye, and no shorter than 1.7 meters. Third, you need a stable income with an annual salary of no less than 300,000 yuan before or after taxes, which proves your ability to earn a living. Fourth, we need a betrothal gift for marriage, but I'll match whatever you give as a dowry. Can you meet these 4 requirements? Xiaohan's criteria for choosing a partner have inspired reflection on social media. Her views reflect those of many older single women. As they age, gain experience, and succeed in their careers, their requirements for a partner become higher. A counselor at a marriage agency believes that the difficulty older single women face in getting married is because they view themselves.
By the way, that was 41,000 and some change. About $42,000 a year is what her salary requirements were, for those wondering.
As luxury goods, sticking by their standards indefinitely.
任何一个大龄女生被剩下。
But see, anyways, the problem is always the same thing. It's what they're demanding out of the partner. You won't do long distance. The guy has to move there. You also have to make this amount of money. That's fine. Cool story. But what do you bring to the guy? Like, men watching these videos, sure, they'll go, yeah, she's attractive. I would pick her. But what does she have to say? When she opens her mouth, it's what causes the ring to never materialize in her life. Because you're not offering a man you want to be stay at home, you want to raise his kids, you want to give him massages, blowjobs left and right, plenty sex, happy energy in the house, cooking all the time, you know, raising his kids, taking a load off everything he needs and has to think about in his life besides work and making money. I mean, if you're not speaking a man's language, you're not showing how you make his life easier, you're just another expense, a burden. So no surprise you either can't hold on to a man or no man even wants to give you a shot. You can't even walk through the door with those kinds of requirements. First, in order to get a customer, you have to offer them something they want to buy. You have nothing that they want to buy.
都是因为性价比太低。
Any older single woman who remains single has a low cost-to-performance ratio, according to a male member who recently broke up with his girlfriend. He said that older single women who consider themselves high quality, regardless of how beautiful, educated, or free they appear, have unrealistic expectations if they're still single. Those wanting to marry don't want to marry them, and those wanting to marry them aren't good enough in their eyes. It's all about having too high expectations when it comes to marriage. I said to him, women who are beautiful, highly educated, and earn incomes should have advantages, right? He sighed and said, she's beautiful, but so are 20-year-olds with lower demands. She graduated from a top university, but there are plenty of such graduates in big cities. She earns 20,000 yuan a month, but she doesn't share it with me and instead uses it as leverage to demand more money from me. It would be better if she earned nothing. She promises to have a child in 5 years and raise it well, but who can know if she can even have a child in 5 years? Young women are beautiful too, and they can raise children without being so materialistic. He also said that men in the age for marriage should avoid women over 35, as luxury items are rarely bought. Besides, many women think they're luxury items when they aren't, which is the real issue. With a growing number of older single women, parents are often the most anxious. They push for marriage because they hope their children will settle down early and have a companion to care for them. Parents think that marrying someone with decent qualities is enough. Love is too fleeting. As long as the person has no bad habits and is reliable, that's sufficient. However,
You see? Do you see the standards of the older generation? No bad habits and is self-sufficient. That's enough. Love is garbage. You can learn to love someone later. Would they make a good partner? Do they earn money? Can they sustain themselves? Do they have good qualities, good habits that you would want to pass down to your children? Jeez, man. Told you, we live in such a greedy society today, man. Can you juxtapose that with what they ask for on like social media here in the West of like, well, he said this, this is an ew. He talks this way. Ew. He wore that hat sideways. Ew. He earns less than this much. Ew. He goes to the gym too much. Ew. He didn't capitalize his words or this punctuation was off. Ew. I didn't like his chain. That was gross. Ew. Gave me the ick. It's crazy. And people get into relationships here in the West, if they even manage to, and they're the most toxic, broken, ridiculous setup that you could ever imagine that leads to both people using each other and both people coming out of that failed, whatever you want to call it, nowadays their situationships, with damage and trauma and baggage that they'll bring into their next relationship and on and on and on and on it goes, bro. The cycle does not stop. That's why I tell you guys to look for women with good fathers in the household present, intact, strong, nuclear family. families, maybe religious in some sense, but owes herself to a higher power, maybe something spiritual, doesn't have to be religious. Grew up in a stable household, and the father wasn't just there in the house, but present, active in her life. And is she smart? Does she have self-esteem? Does she have healthy self-esteem? Is she a critical thinker? Is she self-aware? This is extremely important because it doesn't matter. You get the perfect household and all that stuff, but if self-awareness isn't there, like she doesn't have a baseline IQ that's needed to be a critical thinker, and the phone that she's constantly going through, all that stuff is influencing her in the most negative ways imaginable, that stuff is going to trickle down into your relationship and destroy everything you've ever built. Bro, that's the real mind virus of the world today. You have to get people that are mentally strong. And unfortunately, as women go, most of them are mentally weak and getting weaker and more dependent on the system and more dependent on the dopamine hits from social media attention. They're addicted to the internet worse than men are, obviously, with adult entertainment. Just as bad, but damn, society actually pushes girls from a young age with social media and the message and how a woman should look and how she should dress and how she should chase her career and what actually matters. Like they get bombarded with propaganda day one.
For educated women, marriage cannot just be settled for, and their unwillingness to settle gradually turns them into older single women. Their view of marriage differs significantly from the previous generation, with the biggest change being their increased independence and emphasis on spiritual needs. In the matchmaking group for those aged 25 to 40 in China, women far outnumber men. This seemingly counterintuitive outcome is hard to believe, but after verifying through multiple online channels, the data on the male-to-female ratio in matchmaking across major cities is approximately 1:9. At the Wangsong Academy Matchmaking Corner in Hangzhou, a mother forcibly dragged her 35-year-old daughter to a matchmaking event. The daughter reluctantly said, "I don't want to go." The mother ignored her, dragging her to an older man who was looking for a partner for his son. Upon hearing that the man was born in 1979, 13 years older than her, had a house but no car, and was a local from Hangzhou, the daughter's face showed disinterest. This Anhui woman continued to visit the matchmaking corner several more times, hoping to find a suitable partner. It's Saturday again, and I'm at the Wangsong Academy Matchmaking Corner in Hangzhou. It's crowded with people seeking love, some for their children, others for themselves. I found a place to stand and waited for my fate to come. People come and go, and occasionally older men and women come up to talk to me.
嗨，大家好。
Hi everyone, let me introduce myself. I'm from Lu'an, Anhui, born in 1989, the year of the snake, and still single. I'm looking for someone to spend the rest of my life with. Although I'm already 35, I still have a girlish heart and yearn for beautiful love. Many say marriage is about finding someone to live with, and over time, it becomes more about kinship. Some say don't set your standards too high, and just find somebody to get by with. I've been weighing these options. Many who've been through marriage say love isn't what's important. What's important is that the person is good to you and responsible.
Imagine all those videos they see on social media of women getting married and they have like lavish weddings and surprise parties, and like you're comparing your unmarried, single, bitter ass life, and then you're going to say things like, that's what I deserve. I'm not going to settle for anything less than the best that I've seen on social media. And that in turn, that comparison is the thief of joy, because you're never going to get anything like that. You set standards so unrealistic and so high that no man wants to meet them because you're 37 and trying to demand shit that maybe a 21-year-old influencer got because she's naturally beautiful and has a huge following and models for a living and managed to bag a rich dude. You're 37. You got to take what you can get. Could you even give your man a child? Like you have to somehow alleviate these problems for a man to take you serious. Like, I know I'm 37. I don't have much to offer but a career, which doesn't matter to you because you're going to be paying for everything anyways. You want me to be a stay-at-home and raise your son or daughter. I understand. It might cost us a lot of money. I will pay for all the medical intervention required to get myself pregnant because I've waited this long. So you won't have to shore up any of your money to make that happen. I'm accountable for that. Women, this is how you need to start talking to men, because I see older women as like, wow, you're going to cost more just to do the same thing a younger woman can for free and no problem. And the kid will come out healthier. And this is just statistically speaking.
Stable life is all you need. Others say you should marry someone you love deeply because marriage will bring many challenges you've never considered before, and if you don't love him enough, you'll become unhappy, bitter, or even depressed. Since I've never been married, I really don't know which path to take.
Hangzhou has an overflow of older single women because they take the top criteria for men as their minimum standard. At the Matchmaking Corner in Wangsong Academy, you'll find that 90% of the profiles belong to women in their 30s, and nearly 70% of them are in their 30s. Their consistent requirements are Men must be at least 1.75 meters tall, look decent, be within 5 years of their age, have at least a bachelor's degree, own a fully paid house and a car in Hangzhou, earn at least 300,000 yuan a year, have no bad habits, and be attentive, fit, and caring. I asked a girl nearby if these standards were too high. She said, "Without money, how can you support a family? Without a car, how do you get around? Without a house, where will you live?" All the girls here have the same standards. If I set my standards lower, I'll be outshone by others. But if everyone has such high standards, who can end up with a partner? In Hangzhou, men who meet these criteria are scarce and snapped up quickly. Why would they come to a matchmaking corner? Even though the women here are decent, with houses, cars, and savings, the men have these too. What advantages do older single women have? Quality men have a broad choice, and unless a woman is young, good-looking, and has standout advantages, why would a man choose her?
In a big city matchmaking market, especially in parks with clear pricing for matchmaking, it has become a place for bargaining. Currently, the marriage agency's registrations also show more women and fewer men, with women generally being older. This is similar to matchmaking in parks, where appearance, work, education, and family background are all considered. Perhaps these conditions are part of what constitutes love. A traditional Chinese custom says a man should get married on coming of age, and so should a woman. This has persisted for thousands of years, especially for women. However, this traditional custom began to break down after the 20th century. Many people believe that due to the long-term implementation of the one-child policy and the preference for boys over girls, there has always been a situation in China where there are more men than women. According to authoritative data from demographers, the gender ratio in China is 117 to 100, with 30 to 40 million more males than females. Official data also shows that in 2021, the number of single people over the age of 15 in China reached a record high of 239 million. The number of marriage registrations hit a historic low in 2022. A survey by the Chinese Communist Youth League in 2021 of about 2,900 unmarried urban young people found that 44% of women do not plan to get married. Many women, after giving up on marriage, form a stable single life. On Chinese social media, if women in their 30s or 40s post with tags like "no marriage, no children," they often receive thousands of likes or more. It's important to
That's a beautiful market that's up and coming. Ladies, do you hear that? In America, it's going to be the same thing. China's obviously a much bigger market by population alone, and you should be taking your cues if you want to be the next superstar on social media. No marriage, no kids. Start hashtagging yourself that because it's going to explode.
understand that leftover women are not single because they can't get married, but because they refuse to marry for the sake of marriage. Professor Su Xiaoling from the University of California, Davis, believes that this choice is related to women's educational levels. She said, women with a college education become more determined to assert their rights and social status. Well-educated women find it increasingly difficult to find suitable men who share the same.
That has nothing to do with education, asserting any of your rights, being held down in any way. You're just not attractive. This is the bear in the room that nobody wants to talk about. You're just not as hot as the 20-year-old. It's a fact, man. The dating apps will tell you that. Men from all age ranges just flat out think a 20-year-old woman is hotter than all the rest. 20 or 19, I forget what it was, the graph was showing. But women have a nice slope as they age. Men about 5 years older than them look the hottest to them. So a 35-year-old finds a 40-year-old the hottest. A 25-year-old finds a 30-year-old the hottest. And so on and so forth until it hits about a peak somewhere 45, 50, and then you don't get hotter after that. Father time comes for you too as a man. But that's the brutal reality that nobody wants to accept. It's like men, when looking for marriage, when starting families, your education doesn't mean shit. Your achievements at work, what position you hold, how high you are up in the company, like none of this matters. Are you going to be a good mother to my children? Can you even have children healthily? Well, if you tell me you're 37 years old, the answer is obviously not. What does your money do for me if you already expect me to earn a decent amount of money to support a family? Nothing. And this is what Western women don't understand. You've priced yourself out of the market. Why not snatch up some 22-year-old chick that just graduated, doesn't really care that much about a job and a career building and all that, and she maintains herself and she's very feminine, young, friendly, and fit over the 34-year-old chick that has a career, is higher up in the company, makes her own money, and they have the same exact demand. Maybe the 30-something-year-old is more demanding on all accounts as usual usually is, but also brings far more baggage from dating an extra 10 plus years of being played, of being pumped and dumped, developing a bitterness and a hatred for men and couple and her position in life, being lonely and starting to collect cats. I mean, it's just men rather avoid that dude and deal with a woman that doesn't have all that drama attached to her.
Same views on women's rights. She also said there's an excess of highly educated women, but a shortage of highly educated men. Many leftover women have high standards, viewing many men as unambitious or lacking prospects. They believe that their knowledge and talents require men who are financially secure, good-looking, and high of character. However, in reality, most men are ordinary, and high-quality men have a wide range of choices and often marry and have children early. Many Chinese men often compare a woman's youth to fruit. The fresher the fruit, the more buyers it attracts. As the fruit sits and withers, its price drops. Eventually, even at a big discount, it still may not sell. This is the current situation of leftover women. A leftover woman would complain, "There are no good men in the world. I haven't met any man who meets my standards." However, the increase in the number of leftover women in Chinese society will inevitably lead to a rise in leftover men. These women often live in their own fantasy, often have high-paying jobs, and are economically independent, allowing them the option to remain single. On the contrary, leftover men are different. First, there is a large absolute surplus of marriageable men, and they are often at a disadvantage. Their main problems are economic and cultural disadvantages, social exclusion, and discrimination. A deeper phenomenon is the current instability in China's employment situation, which makes men afraid to get married. Without a stable economic foundation, they cannot afford to start a family. This marginalized social group is likely to bring significant negative impacts on society. If there's a sudden event in society, such as a civil dispute, a conflict between officials and citizens, or mass unemployment, these leftover men could be the main force behind serious social conflicts. In fact, in recent years, these leftover men have been linked to many instances of mass violence in society.
We called that one a few years ago when I told you guys the more and more this group of men grows in society and the more and more they're ignored and politicians don't care and women aren't seeing the writing on the wall. Like the moment something happens, the economy collapses. The moment something like unemployment shoots up or inflation or war or something like that, the destabilization of society is going to come from a lot of these men. Like social change will be a massive upheaval if one of these flash in the pan moments for society happen. We haven't reached that point yet. Everybody is still being like drip fed dopamine and like, just drooling on themselves. Like, I got brand new shoes. I got a brand new video game. I got a ton of adult entertainment. I got just enough stuff to keep me pacified so that I don't do anything. But that's largely deteriorating all around us with mass tragedies that are happening, especially in the United States. They're becoming common. Degradation of the moral fabric of society. You see it all around you. We just had an attempt on a president or ex-president's life. And more politicians are going to start feeling this stuff directly. We're going to become a more lockdown, security, authoritarian state to try to stabilize things. But that's the wrong way to go about it because you're not addressing the underlying issue, which is the fact that these men are economically left behind and their numbers are increasing in such a dramatic amount with nothing left to lose. Why not tear the system down is what they're going to think. Why not completely shun the labor market and not participate in minimum wage slavery? What is there for me? Even if I do get an entry-level job, I can't support a family. Women don't want me. Unless I'm 6 foot, making 6 figures with a 6-inch pipe or larger, yada, 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 they won't look my way anyway. So a lot of these men are demotivated. And you get these demotivated men with a lot of time on their hands and a lot of dark thoughts and a lot of bad things start to happen. Mark my word, you'll see. Some of the comments say, most men are ordinary, most women are ordinary. Most men know they can't afford to get married. Sad that these women don't marry for love, companionship, and life, but want money, houses, cars. And it says, women, the key is not to find any man to marry with. The key is to find a man with values, not money. Yeah. You're speaking to the choir. They're all under the hypnosis of social media. They have to show their lives. Their man is basically a barometer, socially speaking, of how much they can flex on their girlfriends. Like, my man does this. My man earns this. Like, my man is better than your man. That's all it is, man. It's a competition for them. We're just trinkets to them, unfortunately, in the modern dating world. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you on the next one.